first section at the Liberia Revenue Authority. You know that the people who normally collect the money for our country, and they will do all the development. You know, the guy is a very big guy. You know, Daddy, how you doing?
Good morning, Saba. Good morning to the rest of your listeners. It's a pleasure to be here again.
You see the guy, you see the monies that he collect reflecting him, his appearance and all that.
Some of the only metal I have on me is a wedding ring.
No, but the entire the shine the trousers, man. You can see money in them. You know?
There's nothing compared to your very flashy suit.
Can you imagine that? Okay, so Dad, what's happening at the LRA?
Okay, thank you again, Saba, for inviting us and making sure that we're here as always. Good morning again to all of our loyal taxpayers. Good morning to non-taxpayers, and good morning to many Liberians listening across the country. Well, we're excited at the Liberia Revenue Authority. We are excited. We are elated. We're overjoyed that at this time of the year, it's not just about Christmas, but also it's about time that we take some time out, not to come to our taxpayers to say we're coming to collect, but this time around we're calling them to appreciate them, to honor them for their level of compliance, their level of consistency in ensuring that they, pay their taxes. Again, it's not every time that you get to appreciate your taxpayers throughout an entire year, 365 days. People are paying taxes. Even on Sunday, people are paying taxes because we offer online services as well. So you can sit anywhere, anytime at your convenience and pay taxes. So we thought it wise that every year, at a certain point in time, we should be able to appreciate taxpayers. Now, again, students go to school. At the end of the day, there are some who perform better than others. So similarly, people pay taxes all across the year, but there are some who are most compliant. There are some who have contributed the highest amounts to the Revenue Authority, thereby the country at large for development. So we always appreciate our taxpayers by providing them that platform. And for the last 2 years now, we've had a Taxpayers Appreciation Week instead of just having a Taxpayers Appreciation Day.
Okay. Now, so just bring us up to speed, Daniel. What really precipitated the idea? How did the idea come about? So look, we need to begin appreciating our taxpayers.
From the formation of the LRA as a revenue department at the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, up to becoming a revenue, a standalone, semi-autonomous revenue institution. Over the years, our country has come from a place where people did not, the culture of tax payment was not a thing. We rather depended on external support largely to support all of our processes. Most of our domestic revenue only and exclusively went to the payment of salaries.
People didn't see as an obligation.
So it wasn't an obligation. It wasn't something to do and be proud of. Well, it was something to be proud of that USAID will donate 100 million, the EU will donate, and all these different partners would always contribute hugely and largely. But again, as time went on, as a country, we began to realize that these different monies that were coming from different sources would obviously dry out, or these countries would have, external responsibilities to take care of. Besides, we're not the only country in the world that needs support. So as a result of that, it was an idea that we start to encourage people. Then we launched a voluntary tax regime system, which allows penalty, interest, and any form of punishment for tax payment to be the last option. We encourage you, we write you letters, we do a lot of awareness. So most of our campaigns have been towards doing a lot of awareness to ensure that people pay taxes. And over the years, honestly, many Liberians have thought it wise to pay taxes, from community engagements to on-air appearances to running of announcements and jingles across and doing a lot of awareness on social media. We've come to realize that Liberians are gradually understanding the whole idea of taxation and why it's important that they pay taxes. And when people begin to understand that, when people begin to take on the initiative, when people begin to work by themselves to LRA to start to pay taxes, you want to, at a certain point, start appreciating them for the efforts that they make. I mean, at LRA when I joined, there was this old lady that came and said she remembers she used to pay the hot tax, and she used to pay different kinds of taxes back in the days. But since LRA, nobody had gone to her to tell her to come and pay her taxes. So she came to say, I got my 1-bedroom apartment, I got this and I got that, and you'll find a way to bill me.
Okay.
And when we bill her, she said, I don't have the money to pay. And then, I mean, through the instrumentality of the Commissioner General, now we allow people to pay even by installment.
Okay.
So she was given a payment plan, and she happily paid, her first tax after a very long time. And I thought that was a form of leadership, because when the older folks take the lead, the younger ones often tend to follow. So that's how the whole concept of appreciating taxpayers, because technically they don't have to do it, right? But it's a national duty. It's a sacrifice. It's something you do for the general good of the country.
Now, so the question comes also, Daniel, those people, and all of us, we are taxpayers. It's our responsibility. We are on an obligation to do that. Why would the LRA see it prudent to want to appreciate them?
Well, again, appreciation the word itself speaks to complimenting people or thanking people for the level of consistency and compliance. Now, the reason I keep mentioning compliance is, again, for you to be appreciated as a taxpayer throughout a fiscal year, it's understandable that you have to be in compliance with every form of tax that you're supposed to pay.
Okay.
Again, that is why we issue what we call tax clearances to people when they request for them. If you have a contract and you request for tax clearance, and we have to do all of the background check. Whether if you're an institution, are you paying your withholding? Are you paying your real property on the building you're operating from? Are you paying these business tax? All these different kinds of taxes, we have to make sure that you're in line and you're compliant. Then we issue you a tax clearance to say that this person, beyond all reasonable doubt, at the point of issuance, has paid all of the taxes.
Okay.
So the whole idea of appreciating and honoring them is to motivate them to continue to pay more. Again, it's also to motivate those who are not paying to pay, because the more people we have into the tax net, we literally don't have to go to the legislature and say amend our laws to increase taxes. No. When more people are paying, at the end of the day, you realize that you generate more than when you have a few paying, via high taxes, as opposed to having more people pay. It's just like we do with the LEC power. It was I think 36 kilowatt. Now it's around 23, 24 kilowatts, because more people have come onto the grid, so more people are paying. So it's the same with taxes. When more people pay, you don't necessarily have to increase. You just have to ensure that you do more awareness to have more people onto the net and are paying consistently and are being compliant. Because once you're being compliant, it's easier to go to our new integrated tax administration system and just pull out the numbers and say who are the most compliant real estate taxpayers, who are the most compliant this, who are the most compliant that, and then you collate them and you come up with the most compliant. Okay,
we've been joined by the manager, the communication, media, and public affairs section, Labrador Revenue Authority, my own friend and brother, Kainan Singbe. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, welcome.
I know it's better late than never. Right?
Thank you. And that's why I always have my most powerful man ahead of me, my trusted Daniel. But again, good morning to the listening public, and it is always a pleasure coming here to State Radio. I think I've been enjoying since I came back. I'm coming to the station most frequently. But on a serious note, like Daniel was saying,
last time he came was on the controversial PA.
The most important thing right now is collecting revenue and telling the people who have done well, thank you. And that is why, like Daniel said, we set up this Taxpayer Appreciation Week. 2017, it started as LRA Day because LRA was established in 2013. And it started working on the 1st of July in 2014. So we thought we could take our taxpayer appreciation at that time. But again, with the revenue, with the fiscal period now changed and everything coming at the end of the year in December, it was most appropriate also to bring it around the end of the year where people have performed from the beginning of the year to the end, and then you want to appreciate them. Daniel said it's not about Christmas, but when you appreciate people in the month of Christmas, around the end of the year, it's more appreciated, and they enter into the new year with a vigor to continue to perform, to continue to do what they have started. So our ability to collect revenue in this country to support the country's development squarely rests on our ability to engage with the public, the taxpayer, to get in the process of paying their taxes. And we feel so strongly that one of the best way to do this is to appreciate those who have performed so well, being compliant, and then being the highest taxpayers in the Republic of Liberia.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, but it seems that you've already answered my question as to which of the fiscal periods the awardees will be drawn from. Daniel, can you answer that?
Sure. So it's 2020 to 2021.
Okay.
And
2020 to 2021.
2021.
I thought it was 2021,
we had COVID, and there were a lot of things we couldn't do during the period of COVID. So, of course, we had to have a year that went by. So we had to then continue from COVID to ensure that we don't leave, because even during COVID, it will interest you to know that we're still generating revenue. We're still collecting taxes. I wasn't working at the LRA then. He was, but I can tell you for sure that as far as I know, they were going to work as much as they were observing all of the social distancing protocols, but they were still going to work. Taxes were still being collected. People were coming to work, alternatively, but revenue was still being collected. So with that lapse, we had to not just jump and not honor those who were paying during the heat of COVID.
So then when do you honor 2021, 2022?
So obviously it's...
Yeah, I think, but let me just add some stuff to what Daniel has said about COVID period. In fact, if you look at our record at the LRA, it was during COVID-19 time that revenue began to go way up. Because like 2014, the domestic revenue, when I say domestic revenue, I mean the taxes that are collected within the Republic of Liberia and not external resources, that is support that come from IMF or whosoever organization that try to support us. So if you look at 2014 when the LRA started operation, the first, we raised 463 million. The next year, which was 2015, we raised 438 million. And then 2016, 441 million. And then 2017, 451 million. 2018, the beginning of the current administration, we raised 456 million. 2019, 435 million. Then 2020, when the war crumbled to COVID-19, when economic situation around the world became so terrible, and when people have to be forced to stay home, it was in that year that LRA raised 483 million. In the following years, 579 million, still in COVID period. And I think most of these have been driven by, one, the commitment of the taxpayer.
Okay.
Whether difficult situation or not, they remain committed to paying their taxes, and also the administrative processes put into place. And we talk about digitizing our tax payment processes. So before I came, I heard Daniel saying you can stay even in the studio right now, and Sorbor, if you haven't paid your real property tax or real estate tax, you can stay right here. I can teach you right now.
Use me?
No, I'm just saying exactly.
You see the guy here?
No, I think if you haven't.
Next time I will not interview you.
So what I'm trying to say in short is that you can stay anywhere in the country, and in fact anywhere in the world, and pay. Those in the United States who are following us right now can stay in the U.S. and pay their taxes using the LRA card or going online and following the process.
Okay.
So these are some of the things that have impacted the progress or the growth in revenue collection in our country. And the LRA is not stopping there. We are
So then I ask the question, I don't want you guys to escape this question. You are currently honoring, or you'll be honoring people from 2019, 2020.
2020,
What happened?
This is
Fine.
2020,
Okay, 2020.
2021.
Yeah.
What happens to 2021, 2022 people?
No, okay, listen to this. Before we give you an award, it means we have collected all of the data. Now, we can give you a award for the year we're in right now, 2020, 2022, that you talk 2021, 2022, you're talking about,
Okay.
because the data have to be processed. We have to be ensure that everything has been consolidated. It takes some process to really calculate who did what, who didn't do what. Just then you go back to school. The grades are submitted by the instructors, and everybody sit down and now begin to see who has the highest grade and who has the lowest grade. And if you want to do that in the tax administration, you have to take several months to go back and do all of the calculation, who had all their tax clearances on time, who were more compliant, which of the institutions paid the highest nationally and on the sectorial level. So all of these have to be taken into consideration. So you can't just do it immediately.
Okay. So you have to make sure you
that's why
compile
we
your
have
records.
a year in between.
It's just a minute. In addition to what the manager said, so if you're being awarded in 2022, that means in 2021, the entire year you are compliant. Because, like you said, when they're tallying, we have to understand that you've been compliant for at least a year.
Okay.
Yes, so if it's 2020, 2021, that means 2020 you had to be compliant before before we come up with all of that data.
Okay. I'm sure you set up some standards that your people are supposed to meet, especially the honorees, before you certify them or before you give them the honors. Do you care to just drill us through what's the standards you set?
Okay, interestingly, Sorbor, again, every award, even if you're appreciating people for dedication, and commitment to service, it goes without saying that you have to vet them so you get the best. And of course, there are always criteria set. And again, we keep saying this thing about compliance, because the way it's going to work is, even if there are 5 most compliant persons, and we still have to do other things that we cannot say now, as part of the process to be able to get the most compliant taxpayer. And that compliance would mean full compliance with all of your tax obligations, and also ensuring that you've covered all of your tax liabilities. Because again, you don't want to award someone who still have outstanding tax obligations for the period for which you are awarding them. So you can be given an award for 2020, 2021 in 2022 for somebody who's not been compliant over the 2020, 2021 period.
Okay.
Again, it speaks to your level of seriousness to even encourage others to pay taxes. So also, people contribute highly to revenue, to domestic revenue mobilization and revenue generation. So when people are paying in huge sums, in millions and millions of dollars, so I'll tell you what, we did a documentary last year before the last tax appreciation, and we sat in the office of one of our big clients, and he was paying $3 million United States dollars in taxes.
3 million.
From his computer. And he said, gentlemen, right after this interview, your process is working so well, so I want you guys to sit and observe your own process as I pay my taxes. And when he put 3 and he started putting the zeros, I was counting the zeros, Sorbor, and until it hit 3 million, and I was like, wow. And immediately and instantly he gets a receipt that tells him that you've paid and you don't even have to come to LRA.
Wow.
So the interesting thing is, people contribute highly to domestic revenue generation and mobilization. Okay. So you also, because it takes a certain level of commitment to check $3 million and just pay in taxes, even if it's the right thing to do. We know how we struggle to get people to do the right thing, to do the right thing. So even if it's the right thing to do, the fact that you take upon your time, you don't keep postponing it, but rather you ensure that you do that, is enough for you to be awarded. It motivates other big taxpayers or in the large category to ensure that they too can pay. Trust me, these big companies too want recognition. Companies at the medium tax level want recognition. Small businesses want recognition. That is why across the 14 counties, we will have awardees coming from across the 14 counties.
Okay.
Who will be awarded, whether large, small, or medium businesses. So it's a whole package, and it's something that we're excited about, and that is why we set the different criteria to ensure that people meet up with them and they are straightforward. Trust me, the process is as fair as any process can be.
And to add on to that, and so, you're asking what are some of the benchmarks set? Some of these benchmarks include that we don't have to come to you to tell you to come and pay your taxes.
Okay.
Voluntary, because our tax regime is a voluntary tax regime, meaning you get up, go, and pay your taxes. So we have records. If we have to run behind you to pay your taxes, I mean, you may not just be one of those who will be awarded because you have allowed us to get up, to use resources to come and run after you to pay your taxes. But if you just get up and go all of the time, I mean, regularly pay your taxes, we also have records. It's like I'm always equating this to the school system. You have people in the school who are observing you, who are monitoring your behavior, your activities. So yes, you give a test, and everybody passes the test, right? But somebody has the highest score. Then you also look at the person's behavior in the school. Are they a noise maker? Or you just paying, you're passing the test, but you are a noise maker in the school. Okay. So how could that make you to win an award? So are you somebody who is doing other things in the school that makes sure that the school is running properly, the image of the school is better out there? So now come back to our tax regime. When we come back to the tax regime, there are laws on the book, there are rules and regulations that for example, real property taxes I paid from January 1st to June 30th or the first working day in July. You should be clear with all of your real property taxes. Now you pay on the commercial property, you pay on the other property, residential property. You didn't pay on the land, but they are all in your name. So it means you have defaulted somewhere. So we're looking at people who go through all of the processes and pay all the taxes that are due. Or you pay your other that's the interest on your business. But then you don't pay your staff personal income tax, then you still have something left out. So when you see an entity, a business being recognized as paying or being tax compliant, all of these are taken into consideration. You have a very clean record at the LRA. And this is what we want all taxpayers in the country to do. And that is the reason why we think those who have done well should be recognized and should be appreciated so that they can serve as motivation for others who have not.
So, in other words, you are telling me, Simwe and Daniel, you both are telling me that you can only be recognized as a taxpayer by the LRA if you are, if you are a volunteer. In another word, you are not forced to go and pay your taxes. LRA didn't, come knocking your doors and forcing you. You did it voluntarily, and you walked to the LRA. You got a very clean record with the LRA.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel coming in, but then not that you can only be recognized as a taxpayer. You can be appreciated.
Because we're trying to draw an analogy.
Every taxpayer.
Where my question comes from.
We are recognizing every taxpayer in the Republic of Liberia.
Whether they are whether you
go on a roll,
your doors
listen to me. Whether you go on a roll, whether you go on a roll or not, we are recognizing everybody. But we are appreciating and giving awards to those who have the cleanest record.
Cleanest record. What do you mean?
Yeah.
How do we interpret that?
Most importantly is the issue of the best compliance records.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most importantly is the best compliance records, because again, one of the reasons why we keep, and this is also a form
I'm
of
still trying to. I'm still being confused here. What do you call the best compliant record?
Good. The best compliance record is at the point of collating all of the data as to who is the most compliant taxpayer.
Let's assume, Mr. Daniel, I'm coming, Daniel. Daniel, I want to understand.
It's at that point of collating all of that information that you realize that Sorbor, and Sons have no tax liabilities for the period under review. I mean, no tax liabilities. Not even $1
Let's
short.
assume I was always delinquent, and before I pay my taxes, the LRA will have to come with the police and are shutting down my doors. Am I qualified for the honors?
Interestingly, you are, but you may not get it. Why? Because there's something in taxation. We talk about consistency in compliance.
Okay.
You can be compliant, but we can have to force you to be compliant. You can be compliant, but you can voluntarily come and pay your taxes.
Okay.
So in the event where we always have to run behind you, it's different from somebody who comes voluntarily or
okay.
goes online voluntarily, knows their tax payment periods, because we have what we call due dates of different taxes. So the person goes online voluntarily to pay their taxes without the hassle of running behind them. They follow all of the processes and procedures. Again, the motivation here is that you should be able to do it without us coming behind you.
Okay,
We're
sure.
trying to build that sort of literacy in our society where people can know and understand that when you come to the LRA to pay taxes, it's a national duty that you're performing. The same way the doctor will go to the hospital, the same way the teacher will go to the classroom,
Yeah.
it's a national duty that you're performing. So the act of doing that puts you up the list. It doesn't mean that the person who we have to run behind, again, there are some you have to spank them a bit before they get compliant. But again, at the end of the day, you want to recognize people who are making that deep internal sacrifice to pay their taxes.
Okay, so let's talk about the categories of taxpayers that you'll be honoring. I know you.
So it goes across, and let me quickly say that this year we're adding schools.
Schools?
Interestingly, so prior to this taxpayer appreciation week, we've not celebrated schools who have been compliant in tax payment, whether it's towards licenses and fees or other different kinds of taxes. But our NGO and non-for-profit division has been very active.
Okay.
With reaching out with NGOs, reaching out to schools to ensure that they are compliant. So imagine now, before schools send their students for WIAC, the schools, before schools register their students for WIAC, they have to present a tax clearance.
Okay.
So that is a collaboration between the LRA and WIAC. So now schools are being more compliant in taxation. Similarly with non-governmental organizations, and they too now will be included in the awards. For most compliant NGO in the country. This is meant to make sure that whether you're a private NGO, you're a local NGO, you're an international NGO, whether you're a local school, you're an international school, you too can be compliant. You too can contribute to the very society and the immunities that come with it as you enjoy. So we have a little over 40 awards that will be, presented in this year's taxpayer, and permit me to kindly run through the week of activities that we have. So beginning tomorrow, we will be launching the LRA Foundation. The foundation is more like a charity initiative. Again, let me quickly say, because I know that one of your questions will be the issue of conflict of interest. You ask somebody to donate and then you go to them the next day to collect taxes. That is not the case. This is something that will happen from LRA staff. This is something that will be internal. This is something that if I have not old clothes, but good clothes, I can donate it to the foundation team. They can take it out to orphanages and donate. This is something that's internal, but it's also something we want people to know about.
Okay.
So we launch the LRA Foundation tomorrow. Most importantly, the biggest, or one of the biggest events of the week is that on Thursday, the 8th, we will be at the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Ministerial Complex to host our Taxpayers Appreciation and Awards dinner program. That is where we invite all of our partners. That is where we're facilitating all of our taxpayers that are coming from out of country, from across country, to come and be a part of this program. At that program, this is where all of these awards will be given. At that program, this is where we describe each award to you, specifically, whether it's most compliant, whether it's highest contributor, whether it's, and also we have awards in customs as well. Okay. So we're talking about best importer. All these kinds of different awards are going to come together in different categories at the Taxpayers Appreciation and Awards dinner. Of course, people will be awarded across our 3 major categories of tax payment: large, medium, and small. Interestingly, on Friday, so for a while now, you've not seen business people go on the radio to speak against LRA, to say these processes are not right, and there's a reason why. Because we've developed with the confirmation of the Commissioner General and his team, we've developed a way to engage business people, to talk with them. And that is why we're making it even more official now to launch the Business Climate Dialogue in collaboration with the Liberia Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
Because this will help us to regularly, more specifically quarterly, engage business people. What are your issues? Oh, I have issues with my imports. I didn't get this right. Someone is overbilling me. What are the different issues in the business sector? Now, you know that the Chamber of Commerce, of course, is the mother body of all the different LIBA and all these different business institutions and organizations. So that dialogue will be launched on Friday at the Liberia Chamber of Commerce, where all the stakeholders will come together. And once it's launched, every quarter, we have this very big engagement.
After every 3 months.
Yes, after every 3 months, we have all of these different engagement with business people to understand what's going on, what are the challenges they're facing, what are compliance issues we have with them. We also let them know that they have to be compliant. And finally, on Saturday, it's a day to flex our muscles a
sports
bit.
day.
So it's a sports day, but most importantly, you know, everything we do, we like to infuse education and awareness. So we're having the tax walk from our offices in Pinsville to the Invisible Park around the O-Road.
Dress in t-shirts?
So we'll be dressing our
Of course,
LRA t-shirt.
Okay.
And let's not forget, the theme for this year is pay tax we all enjoy.
Enjoy. Yeah, we all
So
enjoy.
you're going to see us with t-shirts that's labeled pay tax we all enjoy, Taxpayers Appreciation Week. So we're appreciating taxpayers, but we're also raising awareness. So we're going marching through the streets with our banners and our t-shirts and handing out flyers to people, because again, LRA will use every opportunity to bring on a new taxpayer onto the tax net. So these are the series of events beginning tomorrow up to Saturday that will be happening. We encourage our taxpayers to join us. We encourage those who are sitting on the fence to join in, because this is about Liberia. And no matter what we do, we can only support development when Liberians get involved through taxation.
Okay, so you spoke about all those activities marking the Taxpayer Appreciation Week, which we did appreciate. But I just want you to go a little, elaborate a bit, on the issue of the foundation. I want to talk about that. What would the foundation be doing? Why did the LRA, started prudent to set up such a foundation?
Okay, so the foundation will be that branch or a coordinating arm at the LRA that will basically focus on reaching out to the public, serving humanity. Yeah, we're collecting taxes, but I think we also need to show some, give some assistance when we can to those who are in need. If you look back, some time ago, the LRA went out distributing 500, 600, 1,000 gallons each to hospitals across the country.
Okay.
Most of the hospitals, we want for taxpayers to be healthy. So in this case, when you support the hospital who are in need, in need of fuel to run their generators in the absence of electricity, especially at that time, then you are helping to save life. And the life you save could be one of the best taxpayers in the Republic of Liberia. So we want to redemption. All of the counties almost receive that from us. So it is that kind of dream that the Commissioner General thinks, the senior management thinks, that the LRA should continue to reach out to people in need. Sometimes you have kind of disaster that take place. Can we reach out to them? Can we help them? Even among the LRA staff themselves, division and section sometimes come together at the end of the year, and I think some of them are doing it this week.
Yeah, medium tax.
Okay, medium tax is doing that. Going out to reach, put their lay 1 cent, 2 cents together, let us help somebody.
Okay,
so it's a helping hand
Okay.
that the LRA trying to give out to people out there, to the public.
So LRA is trying to engage in humanitarian work now. But that is good anyway. But how are you going to raise the resources?
Again, no matter how many times you ask this question, the answer remains the same. That we're going to internally.
Daniel. Daniel has already discovered what I'm going.
So the thing is, for example, our assistant commissioner for medium tax, Sebastian Weah, they have a team in medium tax. They put themselves together as LRA employees. Just recently, last week, they were out to donate to other institutions who are in need. So now this is a more collaborative and concerted effort where it's going to be, because we have a good bit of employees, over almost 1,000 employees or more. So, and we even still need more. So the point here is, if 1,000 employees gave even $5 per person, that is a good sum And even if we can begin to donate wearings, clothes, T-shirts, sneakers, jeans, trousers, these things are going to help people who are in need. So, I mean, I sat where you sit, and I understand what people go through on a daily basis. When we speak to our correspondents across the country and you hear what happened to people, and sometimes when you even go out in the field and you see how mothers are dressed, sometimes you see how kids are running around naked almost all day. They're exposed to a lot of different things. You want to help. And that is why we're not also always presenting ourselves as, the tax collector that's going to come. Now we're tax agents. Now we're communicators. Now we're people who come to do awareness. Recently, we had a team from the Swedish Tax Authority, and we're doing a mini sample survey from our taxpayers. And we called them not knowing why they were coming, and they came to the office and we said, we didn't come to tell you about new tax obligations. We came to ask you, how are we doing? How are we faring? One of the things I took from there, despite some of the concerns they raised, was that when LRA tax agents went to the field nowadays, even if they were enforcers who came to lack your facility, they will firstly educate you. They will firstly provide you a form of awareness as to how you're supposed to pay, how you're supposed to meet up with the due date, so you don't always run into paying penalties and paying interest. So there's a certain sense of how we approach taxation nowadays, and that is why it's important that we don't also always show that side of us, but also bring the humanity of us into it, so that people begin to understand that LRA is not just, that lion hanging over you just want to collect, but also can give back serious employees.
Well, and that is why we want to change the term from enforcement to engagement. So when LRA engage us, when LRA, staff get on the field, we don't want to use the word enforcement. We want people to come to us. So even when we come to you, if you didn't come to us when we come to you, we don't want you to see us as people who are clamping down on you. And one point I wanted to also add to the foundation issue is this even got exacerbated as a result of the COVID-19. The COVID-19 has affected a lot of people, and so the Commissioner General and senior management, along with the staff of LRA employees, think that yes, we have to go out.
No, I expected that. I expected that because your Commissioner General is very generous. So I expected that foundation of that nature would have been launched at the LRA because it's very generous. I know him very well.
So let me say thanks to the management of LBS also for the Director General has also committed to ensuring that the outside broadcast team is there tomorrow to stream live on the radio the foundation launch. So we're very appreciative of that.
Okay. Maybe I myself will come there to bring the
please.
Come and see
I let the Commissioner General, very generous. Okay, so gentlemen, aside from the special recognition that you'll be giving the honorees, the awardees, will there be other benefits attached to that?
Definitely. There'll be, this time around. So for the first time this time around, we're adding gifts.
Okay.
Because again, before now, you come and take your plaque, your award, and then you go sit down. But again, this time around, we have gifts. And again, if we were to let the cat out of the bag entirely, then there will be no need for people to come. So there will be gifts. To whom they will be given, well, we'll find out at the awards dinner.
But people will be.
So
let me just people will be giving a prestigious gift.
Okay.
I want to qualify.
Including cash. Including cash.
Something
to find out at the dinner. You'll find out.
I want to
know. Something. David Coty, when we're on one other radio station yesterday, David Coty received the best real estate taxpayer sometime in 2017, 2018, get about. And Coty was like, he said this award, the peg that was given him, he said, every time he sees it, he gets motivated to pay his taxes, and he will show that to his children and grandchildren. And it's something that is etched on his mind, in his life, forever and ever. And I do believe that those who have previously received the award from the LRA will always boast about that. I remember one time, one taxpayer that received one of the highest awards, when we went to talk, he said, I am the best taxpayer in Liberia. So people will beat their chest about that because they feel that they have achieved, they are heroes, national heroes. You know what I mean? Out of 5 million people, and Sorbor George is being called to have been the best taxpayer for a particular period for the Republic of Liberia. Come on. You have to be happy about that. And somebody else will
talk
want to
about
do the same
every
thing.
money.
Okay, gentlemen, I'll be opening the lines very, very shortly. But like you said, the both of you, Daniel and Simwe, you said that the intent is to encourage our people to pay, their taxes. Moving forward and in the future to come, is the LRA thinking about enhancing this whole exercise, making it more better to encourage our people more and more? Are you thinking on new dynamics and new dimensions of it?
I think yes. Every year we add some little flavor to the taxpayer appreciation exercise.
Okay.
In the past, we didn't talk about foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're talking about foundation. In the past, we didn't talk about launching a dialogue with the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, sure.
Now we are adding another flavor to that. And next year, we might because we have innovative leaders. Our leaders, those who lead at the LRA, are very innovative. And they are let me use the word, forcing LRA employee and staff to be innovative. Our Commissioner General tells each of the manager, you have to come up with an idea that has not existed to see how we can better our work here. And that is some of the reason why we are moving towards the billion. That is some of the reason why we are coming up with a more digitized system of paying taxes. Okay. Today, you don't have to go to the LRA to get a tax clearance. You don't have to go to LRA to pay your taxes. You don't have to go to LRA to get informed. We have our system, we have our social media pages, and we're working along to improve them. LRA is not stopping. We're going.
Okay, it's Mr. Kanyine Singbe. He's the manager, communication, media, and public affairs section at the LRA. You also heard Mr. Daniel Ankra. Daniel is a senior communication officer at the LRA in the communications section. You can begin putting your calls now on 0776 540-987, or better still 0880-514-096. Again, 0880-514-096, or better still 0776-540-987. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. This is Tito Go calling from Reddit.
Let's hear from you, sir.
Good morning, my senior brother Daniel. My man, amazing your voice on air.
Thank you, Chief.
I just want to say thank you for the level of work you're doing at LRA. And appealing to you, the program that you're having shouldn't be doing more. At least let it go outside in the Liwa County, where other people to be happy and feel impressed to pay tax. Because you got people passing around saying
He's awfully lying, it seems. 0776 540-987, or better still, 0880-514-096. Good morning.
Yeah, morning, so how are you?
I'm okay.
Yeah, this is Ishmael Isaac Frank Kwame, running for Unity, and I do join you from Puya, Lower County, Nigeria.
Let's hear from you.
Thank you so much. Let me appreciate our studio guys this morning in the studio. Thank you. You know, the success of every country lies in the hands of the LRA. So we encourage you, keep on the good job, and what you are doing. We can see now that to pay the taxes, it is in the two form. You can do it through mobile money, you can do it through other things. They are making things easier for us. So keep the good job so that our country can move forward. Thank you.
Good. 0880-514-096. Better still, 0776 540-987. That's the number to call, and you are live on the SMS this morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir. This is Mr. Morvan speaking from district number 17.
Okay.
Yeah, first and foremost, let me just say hi to your studio guests, Mr. Daniel and Mr. Singman. I really appreciate what they are doing. And to tell you the truth, I have not had any good or any bad experience with LRA. On the contrary, I have always also been advising those that have been coming around, asking the customers and the store owners, businesses, and what have you. What I wanted to say, they have this and everything. And I'm so pleased that finally in Liberia, we have seen and we are seeing a structure of paying taxes in Liberia. I'm very glad. And I appreciate them. I think I will come to LRA office and really do it officially.
Okay.
I'm very glad.
Okay.
And I will do my own contribution to start paying my taxes also.
Please.
Thank you. That's what we want to hear.
Many
Everybody
thanks.
saying.
Many thanks. I really appreciate your time this morning. 0776-540-987, or better still, 0880-514-096. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
My name is tGeorge Kuti. I'm calling from Grand Bassa County.
Okay.
I want to appreciate my bosses because I also work with revenue as tax collector in Grand Bassa County. I want to appreciate my bosses, Mr. Singwe and Daniel, for their presentation at the station this morning.
Okay.
Informing the general public. They are doing pretty well. But my question has to do with, are they creating any space where we